My fellow Americans, in the 2016 elections, we saw Donald Trump win the presidency with the slogan, "Make America Great Again." Recently, we have seen him making billionaires, corporations, and Putin great again. The rest of us, not so much. As the presidential candidate of the Bloc Party and self-appointed leader of our nation, I proudly present my plan to truly make America great again. Let's start with the air we breathe. Although the Founding Fathers did not include it in the Bill of Rights, I believe the right to breathe clean air is fundamental to building a great country. I have bad news and worse news. As you see here, the green areas are small and getting smaller. It doesn't help that the current director of the Environmental Protection Agency, when he ran for Congress, promised to abolish the EPA. Trump brags about eliminating bothersome government regulations. I seriously doubt that the American Lung Association would applaud him for this achievement. And the news about our water supply isn't any better. According to the Natural Resources Defense Council, nearly 30 million Americans have been exposed to contaminated water. The disaster in Flint, Michigan was only the most prominent example of government incompetence in managing our water supply. The Bible talks about ancient residents of Israel drinking wine with their meals. They did not do this to get drunk. Waterways in ancient Israel were often nothing more than open sewers. Winemaking requires distillation, which kills off the germs. So drinking water was bad for your health. Wine was much safer. How soon will Americans arrive at the same conclusion for the same reason? Here we see a map of earthquakes in the central part of the country. Notice the big red splotch in Oklahoma. I grew up in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma has always been a big oil producer. There is a working oil well on the grounds of the state capitol. But Oklahoma was never a big earthquake state. With the advent of more aggressive drilling practices, it is now. You will notice the map of the proposed Keystone Pipeline to carry Canadian oil to Gulf ports to be shipped to European refineries for sale overseas. Here's a crazy idea. Instead of building a pipeline which is sure to rupture and contaminate our country in order to bring raw sludge to Europe where Europeans can get paid for refining it, how about building refineries at the Canadian border? The refined petroleum could then be distributed to Americans who would continue to enjoy low prices and unpolluted soil and waterways. Of course, selling petroleum products at lower prices would probably reduce profits for oil companies and reduce their contributions to political campaigns, so Congress would never approve it. I told you it was a crazy idea. Another area needing help is our American roadways. As you see here, lack of funding to maintain our roads is costing us $160 billion per year in wasted time and fuel. It is also costing us additional billions in needed auto repairs. This lack of funding has also produced a backlog of roadway repairs. it would cost $836 billion to catch up. In 23 of the 50 states, over half of the roads are in need of repair. 19 states have a significant need for bridge repair. America has always prided itself on our freedom of movement. That movement is being seriously threatened by our lack of attention to the roads which make that movement possible. President Eisenhower, a Republican, started the interstate highway system to facilitate our freedom of movement. It is a shame that today's Republicans lack Eisenhower's vision and determination. Not only do we need to work on our physical highways, we also need to work on the electronic highway, the Internet. The blue areas you see here are rural areas without Internet access. This means that residents cannot buy online. They can't work online. They can't get an education online. Fixing this problem would add thousands of new customers and billions of dollars to our economy. It would add new workers with advanced skills to our workforce. In 1933, President Roosevelt established the Tennessee Valley Authority, which brought electricity to thousands of people. It inspired other projects which made similar improvements to the lives of millions living in rural communities. It's time we had another TVA movement to bring rural America into the 21st century. I believe the resulting benefits would make the accomplishments of the TVA pale in comparison. Here are two examples of what I was just talking about. The bar graph shows that this year companies did over $2 trillion in business with consumers on the Internet. The amount of business-to-business e-commerce was 5 times this amount. I believe that giving rural communities Internet access would significantly increase these numbers and would allow American companies to take advantage of new markets and new consumers. You will also notice that over 1 million students are getting their post-secondary education online. Expanding Internet access would allow more people to get the education they need to compete in the technology age and would provide the skilled workers that organizations want and need to hire. 2 more areas needing improvement are our airports and seaports. Here is a list of the top 20 airports in the world. Only San Francisco made the list. Airports Council International reports that U.S. airports will need about $10 billion annually for improvements for the next 4 years. 2/3 of the money will be used to accommodate growth in passenger and cargo traffic, and 1/3 will be used to maintain current facilities. Our seaports will need help to cope with rising sea levels. Whether you believe that global warming is caused by human factors, volcanic activity, or God just likes fish more than people, sea levels are rising. The planet is making adjustments, just like it's been doing for billions of years. We humans just happen to be in the way. Mom Nature says, I was here first. It's your problem. Deal with it. Like all other countries with a seacoast, we need to deal with it. I humbly submit these suggestions for your consideration. As the self-appointed leader of our nation, loon, and presidential candidate of the bunch of loony old citizen crackpots, I believe that I am well qualified to restore our nation's greatness. Not only do I have graduate degrees in education and business, I have many years of experience as a professional entertainer. I was successful in a business that has nothing to do with reality. I stood on a stage and gave people what they wanted to hear, and I spent years in smoke-filled rooms full of drunks. I believe these experiences qualify me to lead our country out of its current quandaries and make America sane again. Thank you for your time and attention.